Very good evening from Kabul. In just under 8 hours from now, the polling stations are going to open across Afghanistan for the presidential elections and provincial elections too. For the next hour, we're going to be speaking to presidential candidates, tribal leaders, senior politicians and CIA agents to find out if tomorrow's election can produce a leader to guide the country into a secure and prosperous future. Or will the Taliban's threat to disrupt the polls succeed? If it all goes to plan, it may look something like this, voting often following ethnic lines here, with Pashtuns making up the majority of the tribal population. On the surface, that should be good news for the current president, Hamid Karzai, who is an ethnic Pashtun. 5 years ago, he became the first democratically elected leader of Afghanistan, winning 21 of the 34 provinces with more than 55% of the vote. But Mr. Karzai has plenty of critics. Reconstruction work has been slow here, and his time in power has undoubtedly been dogged by allegations of corruption within the administration. His critics say he has little influence outside the capital, and that's earned him the nickname the Mayor of Kabul. There are a huge number of candidates to choose from, 38 in all. President Karzai's biggest challenge at the moment seems to come from Dr. Abdullah, a former foreign minister. He's half Tajik and half Pashtun. Supporters claim that this means he may well overcome some of the tribal divides. But during the Soviet invasion, he was an advisor to the charismatic Northern Alliance leader Ahmad Shah Massoud, and that makes him popular among the Tajiks of the north, but it could prove a handicap, winning some of the Pashtun vote in the south. 7,000 voting stations across the country. They say there are going to be 3,000 donkeys out there ready to deliver ballot papers alone to some of the remote areas. And the symbols are going to be used to help the 70% of Afghans who can't read. But questions remain, of course, over how many polling stations will be open in the Taliban-controlled south. I've been taking a look at two of the main rivals for the post of president. A rare sight of the president amongst his people. Hamid Karzai hasn't done much campaigning. Some say he fears for his own safety, others that he's simply overconfident. Only weeks ago he seemed unbeatable, a man certain to retain the presidency. But the one-time darling of the West seems less popular at home these days. The drumbeat heralds his challenger. Abdullah, once Karzai's own foreign minister, is now his biggest threat. His claim that the president's government is incompetent and corrupt goes down well with Afghanis disillusioned at the lack of development. Karzai, who's stayed in power for 8 years through skillful alliances with warlords and tribal leaders, now accepts that a broader reconciliation will be needed in future.
If I win, then my first priority will be solidifying and speeding up the peace process with the Taliban and with Hizb Islami and with all other groups who are not part of Al-Qaeda, part of terrorist networks, or part of other setups that cause damage to Afghanistan or to our international partners.
Campaign videos suggest the crowds have grown for Dr. Abdullah, and with them his confidence and stature.
Very nice to see you.
Hi.
Thanks for coming to talk to us.
When I met him, he was keen to assure me that as president, he would still appreciate British help, but not forever.
We do need your support, we do need your troops, but at the same time, as we move along, that need should decrease rather than increase as it is today. And it is possible that in a few years' time we will be able to stand on our own feet in terms of our security, our defense, and there will be no needs for foreign troops.
With Dr. Abdullah's campaign gathering momentum, President Karzai, once the runaway leader, now faces a possible